Maidenless is back. Spencer, when I say maiden, you say list. Maiden. Maiden. Let's go. It has been a long week without any uploads on the YouTube channel, but Spencer and I are coming to you solo, no guests. We have a lot to discuss. Spencer, how are you doing, my friend? It is great to see you.
It's great to see you too, Willie. I'm so excited to break down the Maidenless Rookie Draft of 2024.
Yeah, the rookie draft. It's hard to believe it was what now? Already, I'm looking at a calendar right now. Is that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That it happened. So
Yeah.
we
kind of came and went.
We have a lot to debrief, and then draft ended on Sunday, and in true maidenless fashion, we started our rookie draft Sunday night. So I know we thought about doing a vote, but then Spencer, I think we had 60% of the league vote. And then next thing you know, we're starting a slow draft. And what did it take? 4 days for our draft to finish?
That's a good question.
We started Sunday, and then I know we finished through the week. Maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, but either way, that's beside the point. What were your thoughts, I guess, going into the draft? You had no picks until what? The end of the very end of the draft. So you were probably ready to get that draft over with.
Yeah, I mean, I have to shout out my nemesis counterpart here, Jake Simonson, who told me I'd never be able to trade Juju Smith-Schuster, and I did trade Juju for the last pick in the third round of our rookie draft. So I was very happy to offload Juju and get a pick. I wanted to be in the action, even if it's Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, hey, well, Mr. Irrelevant has worked out if your name is Brock Purdy, so can't complain there. But, I mean, why not? I think, F it, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to pull up the rookie board. We can start doing our initial takeaways. Spencer and I have a big surprise for all league mates in store, but I'm going to let that anticipation simmer a little bit, and then we can get into it. So once I pull it up here, you able to see that there, Spencer? And hopefully our audience members at home can. So
yes, sir.
I'm going to give it to your way, Spence. Obviously, you had 312. As you look at the board, you were watching it kind of fall your way. What are your big takeaways? You look at things. What stands out? What are things you like? What are some things you don't like?
I mean, I actually just had another rookie draft in a 12 league, same format, and it went pretty similar. My biggest surprise was Rome dropping all the way down there.
Absolutely.
I was shocked when Xavier Worthy was picked over Rome, which didn't make much sense, but hey, you never know. But otherwise, I felt like it was pretty standard. A good amount of QBs went early, and then it was the receivers with your obvious Brock Bauer, tight end, going in the first round, kind of like Kyle Pitts did his year. But yeah, I mean, there's really only 3 key running backs to get. We'll see about the others. It's kind of a dart throw from there. I love Bucky Irving. I thought that was a great pick on your part.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping that works out. I need a running back desperately.
Well, Bucky Irvin might be your guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, looking at it, I like it. I think that there's a lot of talent, especially in the first 2 rounds. So, I mean, it's just waiting to see who's going to, go off year one and who's going to wait to develop and who's going to be a bust. Excited to see the busts.
Yeah, this was Rashi, however you pronounce it, his first name, Rashi Rice's other allegations of hitting a photographer. So he's got a lot going on in the books, so he might be going to the slammer, but we'll see if Cammy tries to sell him at all. I completely agree with you. I think the biggest surprise on my side was definitely Worthy going over Odunze, where you look at some Superflex rankings on YouTube or other websites, and Rome's in that top 5 picks, potentially before JJ McCarthy too. So that's definitely a pick I struggled with. We'll all go into it later detail with taking JJ McCarthy over Neighbors and Odunze too. But I mean, now we're just kind of in the depths of the off season. So is there anything else what else do we get to look forward to now that the rookie draft has already happened? The NFL rookie draft has happened. I mean, we're kind of in the dark days of Dynasty summer.
I mean, I think that obviously you got training camps coming up, and you have those camps, and all the players are going to get together, and you're going to wait for the news to break about your players and how they do, and obviously the overarching positivity of these rookies that are going to play in the practice, and then they're not going to do much. But I'm excited for not only that, but also more league trades. I think that
Yeah.
once this episode gets out, people are going to be more focused on the league more and
Yeah.
maybe dipping into their teams and saying, maybe I could, trade for a contender. This could be my year. It's anybody's year.
Yeah, we officially revived our Maidenless group message. So now we got all of those with the sleeper notifications off. You cannot escape the Maidenless group chats. There are links being sent in all the time, constant banter. So that's always fun to see.
You love to see it.
I know one thing I love about the offseason too is just if you've ever been on the Dynasty subreddit, there's this Diggs Treadwell hypothesis, which is essentially the more you post of doing offseason workouts, the better chances you have of success in the NFL too. So I've got a couple players that have been high on that post. Maybe I'll try and find a link of it and I'll send it in the chat or something. But times like this, I mean, I am just absolutely drinking the Kool-Aid of Javon Baker. That was one of those 4th round picks, and he's talking about, if you're in a wheelchair, I'm going to make you stand up. I mean, he is getting me absolutely horned up. I'm not sure. Is there any rookie off-season videos you're really getting horned up on?
I mean, Javon Baker's that's a name. I mean, my expert analysis, Zach Loring. He's my go-to guy when it comes to up and coming NFL players. And he had Javon Baker as a grab. So I like that pick. Anything can happen in New England, dude. That's kind of a shit show on offense. So
yeah, it's an absolute scrap fest. I know. Maybe before we go into our big surprise, let's debrief the actual NFL draft a little bit, just in terms of all of the fireworks coming into it. Are the Vikings going to trade up to 3? Are the Commanders going to take Jaden McDaniels? Is New England going to trade back? I mean, so many different scenarios.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, Spencer? It kind of shakes out as anticipations were kind of coming in with Jaden Daniels going 2nd overall. Obviously, Caleb Williams to the Bears. Everyone knew that. Jaden Daniels, 2nd overall. Drake May, 3rd overall. And then followed by, Michael Penix. We could probably spend an hour talking about just Michael Penix with that.
It's just ridiculous.
Falcons are not serious. And then obviously JJ McCarthy to the Vikings, Skol, and Bo Nix to the Broncos. A lot to digest there. I'll send it to you first.
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that we have to tip our caps to is the city of Detroit. I don't know if you watched the first round of the draft, but my God, is that city just electric. I mean, what better place to have it? You have the Lions coming off of one of their best seasons. They're gearing up for another playoff run, and I love the city of Detroit. I love how, those fans have been just bamboozled for years, so it's so nice. They had so many people out there, so great location. I thought, obviously, the one pick that everybody needs to talk about is Michael Penix. I was shouting at the TV and laughing hysterically at the same time while texting my brother, who's a fan of the Falcons. I can't believe that Michael Penix went, and I can't believe that Michael Penix went 8. I can't believe that he went before some of these QB. It's just insanity. Yeah. But honestly, it's just that pick. That pick just stays with you. It kind of just but the Eagles, you got to talk about them. They got the 2 best corners, in my opinion, in the draft. So Eagles stay winning.
Yeah, it's a tough time to be anyone that, wants defensive players. But hey, Dallas Turner is a dog.
He is a dog.
As a Vikings fan, obviously we have to talk about that. What were your thoughts I know there's been so much discussion about Vikings trading up, getting Drake May. I just want to take a second because we're both Vikings fans and we have to talk about Vikings. So are you happy with JJ McCarthy going where we did, trading up 1 pick to get him? Gave up some late round picks. What are your thoughts?
I thought that the Vikings handled the draft beautifully. I was telling everybody and their mother that I know that would ask me, I said, if we can get JJ McCarthy without trading, let's do it. But if we're going to trade up to get a QB, we're getting Jane Daniels or Drake May because we're not getting Caleb, and I'd rather have those 2 franchise QBs over JJ McCarthy. Maybe biased, maybe not, I don't know. But I thought that the front office beautifully executed that. Getting Dallas Turner and JJ McCarthy in the first round is a huge plus for both the defense and the offense. Obviously, we have Sam Darnold in there right now. So, the Vikings, we'll see. They had a good defense. They just got another key piece. So I'm excited for the season. I don't know how the NFC North is going to shake out, but I'm very happy with the draft.
If you're coach Kevin O'Connell, you rocking with Sam Darnold or JJ Mack? You think it's maybe a Jordan Love situation let him marinate for a few games. We start off 1-5. We'll give him the reins, or what do you think there?
I think that Sam Darnold should be the starter. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy, being 21 years old, coming out of Michigan, very run-heavy offense, I just don't think that he's going to translate well from that short period of time to getting drafted to starting week 1. I just don't see it. Sam Darnold has the experience. He's got a decent arm. He's not the worst QB that you could have. So I think it's more like a Jordan Love situation. I don't know if he sits the whole first year. Yeah. It kind of depends on how shit the Vikings do and how mad JJ gets. But we'll see.
Yeah. I'm going to take, as I'm not biased, having shares of JJ McCarthy now, maybe I take the opposite stance where he's ran this NFL-style offense while in college, runs a lot of play action. Maybe there's a chance that he just is an absolute scholar, learns the playbook. He's coming out week 1.
I think that
he's going to be just CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud 2.0. I mean, you can't not produce with weapons like we got, right?
I mean, we have, it's definitely the offense for JJ McCarthy to enter. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Do you think, if you had to guess, Vikings record right now, where are they playing in a tough NFC North division? Loaded question, a lot to consider. I don't know if we're making playoffs. It's hard to say. If I had to guess right now without doing really any thinking, I mean, I'm thinking we're sub 500. At least we keep that 25 first, reload with another asset. I don't know.
I don't want to put a number on the wins just yet because I kind of want to wait a little bit longer.
Sure.
But I don't think that we're going to make the playoffs, and I think that we're going to be either the last or the second to last in the NFC North. But that's lowest expectations, so I really hope that they can turn it around. Who knows?
Yeah. Who would you say NFC North champ? You lean in Lions again?
I think I got to go with the Lions again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have that firepower coming into this season from last season. Packers, they really didn't get their receiving room figured out. They didn't at all. It's the same thing. They just have 4 24-year-olds that just run down the field. So I don't know. I think that the Packers are good, but I think that this is the Lions here again to take the North.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the season to begin and then the season to end, and then hopefully I can cash in on some of these 2025 picks.
Yes, sir.
I know it's brutal. I've definitely been messaging other league members trying to maybe acquire running back, but if JJ is, as in JJ McCarthy, if he's sitting a couple games this year, I may as well just embrace the tank. I think a lot of websites have me. You extract the picks. I'm bottom half of the league, so.
That's an interesting point. So I got a question for you. So right now, obviously, do you have 2 25 first or 3?
I have 3. Yep. I have Logan's, I have Bort's, and then I have my own. So.
Okay, so you got your own. That's good.
Yeah.
So let's say it's week 5. Okay. You're 0-4. JJ McCarthy still is not starting. Are you shipping away Dak Prescott and just absolutely loading up on these 22-year-olds?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good. I mean, I have definitely been trying desperately to sell Dakota Rain Prescott, but nobody.
Didn't have to say desperately.
I mean, I have tried packaging him for everyone. I think Spencer, I've even tried to trade him and some scraps and then get Jordan Love and get a little bit younger. But I mean, he's super underrated. I mean, my favorite thing to say is QB4 on the year, has CeeDee Lamb. It'll be interesting to see. I think he's on the last year of his contract. So
yeah, I think him and the Cowboys are nowhere close to a deal. I think that the consensus right now is that he's going to walk and he's going to be a free agent. So that's definitely something to look out for. But yeah, I mean, Dak's what, 32, 30, 31?
I think he's 30, honestly.
That's not bad.
Check that. Right? In football, in quarterback years, I mean, he's 30 years old. So, I mean, in quarterback years, with a performance like that last year, he's got at least 4 more years of runway. So if you're a competitor and you have an injured quarterback next year, hit me up, please. I know, as we're on the topic, old guys, I have none other than the George Kittle on the market. I replaced him with Brock Bowers. If you're a competitor looking to acquire some great tight end depth, I am going to be shopping him heavily. So definitely keep that in mind. I know it's going to be a dogfight at the top of the standings, and I don't know if I'm going to be in it. Let's see. I know I know we've got some big things on the radar, Spencer. Is there anything else you want to touch on with rookie picks before we get into what we have in store for our viewers and league mates?
I think a good summary is it was a good rookie draft. I think people's heads were in it. I think a lot of the picks that were made were good picks. I was able to sneak in to Mr. Irrelevant, so that was good to see me in action. But other than that, no, it was a good draft, and now I'm excited to see what Mr. Willie Youngstern has in store for the listeners.
Yeah, last recap. So for our viewers at home, I'm basically talking to my mom, dad, and sister. This is just the rookie draft board, so just draft all the rookies. I just wanted to touch on that as we've been already talking for about 15 minutes. But to the point that we have all been waiting for, let me get all my tabs in order. This is a little something that Spencer and I have cooked up to generate a little bit of dialogue in our chats. We're going to get a little bit of engagement going. We are going to do the first annual Maidenless Rookie Draft recap with your hosts, Spencer and Willie. Round of applause, Spencer. You and I here. Without further ado, we did this in order of standings from first place to last, from first to worst. So it gives me great pleasure. I'm going to roll the sound effect to go to our first draft recap, the 101, the champion himself, Mr. Logan Heim. As you see our grades you'll see on our screen, draft grade, draft additions, team, manager, team construction. We're going to break it all down for you all right now. Spencer, you and I are both an A. I'll let you start, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to you about this before we started recording, but I mean, I've been playing Dynasty for a while now, and I feel like the trend for winners is that they either tank or they go all in for next year, and there's really not an in-between. Nobody really kind of keeps the same team, and Logan obviously went more, not the tank route because it's not like he got bad players, but obviously he did lose Josh Allen in trading for Caleb Williams, but hey, Caleb Williams, if the hype is real, that's a good trade. 22 years old compared to 28 years old, so I guess it is what it is, but obviously taking Caleb at 101 for any Dynasty Superflex team is going to be an A, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's if you're going to get rid of Josh Allen, you're hoping you're going to hit on basically a younger version of him, and Caleb Williams will be as advertised, and he'll maintain his value. I mean, that's the risk with trading Josh Allen. I mean, even just before this episode, I was looking at his history of just like performance, and I mean, he's top 5 pretty much for the last 4 or 5 years in a row. So
yeah,
if you're a reigning champion, you kind of want to keep those guys on your squad. But I was definitely trying to acquire Caleb Williams with no luck, so I was shooting over 30 from the field with Logan. Yeah. But I guess one thing that I look at here, Spencer, is his quarterback situation. Obviously, he had Caleb Williams. He had Josh Allen. He had Justin Herbert. Trades both of those quarterbacks to being squared. And now his squad's looking a little light in terms of depth on the quarterback position. Maybe you could argue on the running backs. What do you think as you look at his squad?
I mean, I think that his QBs are going to be fine this year. I mean, I think that he could get another one, but just the fact that Fields and Russ are playing on the same team, have that.
It's convenient.
Very convenient. And going for next year, Justin Fields is not going to get re-signed to Pittsburgh. So it's like, if he goes to a team and starts, now Logan has 3 starting quarterbacks. And so I don't know. I mean, it will play itself out, but I mean, Fields and Wilson being on the same team really helps him out there. But I mean, running backs, Brees, Kyron, both young studs. Kamara, he'll play until he's 35 years old. So he has no sign of slowing down. I mean, he's got some bad backups, but and then his receivers are also good. I mean, Drake London, very young. Michael Pittman, young. Amari, good. Christian Kirk is decent. So Pitts and Evan Ingram too. So you never know. I think that Logan is definitely a contender, though. Yeah,
absolutely. The Dynasty Daddy website agrees. So that's basically the first of the 12 dominoes to fall. Anything else you want to mention on it, Spencer? I think you covered your brother's story pretty well here. Otherwise, we can keep moving down the board.
All good on my end.
Alrighty. This next player is a very special player, and I'm not biased because it's literally myself. So can't give a draft grade, unfortunately, but obviously I blew up the farm with a trade with Bort, so I sent Bijan, AJ Brown, Tua, got the 103 this year, the 105 this year, Garrett Wilson, and then 2 firsts next year. So I mean, I'm in absolute rebuild mode, basically, it seems like. So not much I can talk about on my end. I'm not sure if you have any questions on my thought process at all, Spencer. Otherwise, I can give it to you.
I mean, you took 3 different positions. In the first round, you took 3 different positions.
Yeah.
Love all of those picks. JJ McCarthy only being 21 years old. Obviously, QBs and Superflex have a lot higher value, so I don't hate that pick at all. Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously great pick. And then Brock Bowers. I mean, you got the best receiver in the draft and the best tight end in the draft, and then you got a 21-year-old QB. So, and then you got some running backs and receivers mixed up in there. So,
yeah, I was messaging Simo trying to figure out, if I could do a cheeky trade back, acquire some more picks, and still hopefully land JJ McCarthy, because I was pretty sure he wanted Neighbors just looking at his team, but just decided, you know what, I need a QB. I traded away Tua. If you look at my squad right now, if you're talking about no depth at QB, I mean, unless I have a Joe Flacco insanity run, I mean, geez Louise, I'm hoping I'm locked in for the 101.
Yeah, I can also see why you are looking for a running back there too.
Yeah.
But hey, your receivers
desperate.
though.
I'm very desperate. Yeah,
MHJ, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, come on. Good core right there.
Yeah, I'm hoping, Jalen Polk or Javon Baker, both on the Patriots with limited talent at wide receiver currently. I'm hoping they can just have a nice connection to Drake May for many years to come. But I guess one thing I'd want to mention too while we're at it is the draft trade that I had with
Does that say fraud?
Yeah, according to Dynasty Daddy, I'm a fraud.
What?
Yeah. I think a large part of it is if you just look at the rankings. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but rank 11 for quarterbacks.
Yep.
I'm hoping, fingers crossed that JJ plays some games and he looks good, and all the nerds on the website start to value him higher, and then I can get a little self-esteem boost. But
there you go.
Draft capital rank is where I definitely have a nice advantage. But I mean, times are tough. Definitely looking to sell some of my older guys, as in George Kittle and Dak Prescott, as I mentioned earlier. So part of me still wants to trade for running back, but I don't know if it just will swing the needle for me right now or not, and just maybe wait and see.
If it makes you feel better, next year's running back class is better than 2024. So
before I move on, any thoughts? We had the draft trade with Loring and I. Any thoughts on that? Obviously, traded up 2 picks, sent Mike Evans as well, getting rid of some of those older guys and trying to get younger.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. solid. I like that pick. He was my 4th best receiver in this draft. So
sure,
but Bowers is the impact player over Brian Thomas Jr. So I think that you did a great job.
Sweet. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah.
Let's see how it shakes out. Let's keep on chugging. Mr. Cammy Blunts, Mr. Brocktoberfest, couple draft additions, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Legette, Braylon Allen. You give a B+, I give a B. Slight advantage to you, Spencer. I think my only reason I differed compared to you was just the uncertainty with Xavier Legette. I know he got the draft capital in the first round, but you just never know with that Panthers offense. Obviously, they've addressed a lot there, but just until I see him, I mean, for full transparency, I didn't know much about him. He was probably the least followed wide receiver I had. So that's where don't disagree with the picks whatsoever. It's just more so wait and see. And then this draft grade could easily turn to a B+ or an A- for sure.
Yeah, I put it at a B+. I had it at a B- just because, I mean, the names aren't big, but when you really think about Cammy's team, his receiver, I mean, his team is decently old, but it's still competitive for this year, probably next year. But I mean, Ladd, he's also a guy who could be the WR1 there too. I think that he's better than Quentin Johnston. I think Quentin Johnston sucks. I think Josh Palmer sucks. And he has nobody else to throw to. So I think that Ladd could be a very sneaky pick for Cam. And is it Legette?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't know much about him. I did some research when I saw that he went to the Panthers, and with the Panthers receiving room right now, like Thielen,
Yeah, that dude just needs to go to pasture and just die.
Jesus, dude, like get out of the league. Just go be with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jonathan Mingo sucks, so I could see
Sure.
him also emerging. I mean, who knows with that offense?
Yeah.
I mean, Bryce Young sucked last year, so maybe with their 3 guards that they signed, hopefully, they can get something going.
Yeah. Do you agree with obviously mine said fraud, and I hope you hard disagree with that. Frisky rating.
Oh, sorry, one more point.
Yeah,
for
go
the
ahead.
B+. I think that with the Panthers offense next year, he could be, I mean, obviously depending on how he plays this year, I just say that I think that he could break out. I think that he's one of those receivers that's going to be like, nobody really knew much about him, and then the situation that he got thrown in. So I think that Cammy took 2 boomer bust players, which I love.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree with that. I think I may have to upgrade my draft grade to a B+. If you've just solely on the fact that if you've ever heard Xavier Legette speak, it is the most entertaining thing ever. Have you ever heard him talk, Spencer? It's like he's got marbles in his mouth.
Yeah, he's got that peanut butter roof.
Yeah.
He is a character. So we'll see. And then I honestly don't know much about Braylon Allen. So all of these running backs, other than the top 3, I know a little bit about Bucky Irving. Kind of disappointed he went to Tampa, but so I don't know. I think that it was a good draft for Cammy, and let's see if he makes a fucking trade this year, huh?
Yeah, he is looking to potentially lose that trade virginity. Hopefully, if we harass him with enough messages, he'll get a little bit more engaged. I don't even think he knows this podcast exists. If you do, Cammy, text 123, save some for me, and then we'll see if you ever watch this. Moving on down, though. Boom. Mr. Spencer Heim. Mr. Irrelevant with the one pick. Not really, I mean, I gave you an A-. I mean, not really too much to talk about here in terms of what you did. I mean, how was it just sitting and waiting till basically the caboose of the draft? Were you getting anxious? I know you were like, this is taking too long. Let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah, I mean, I was loving it because I didn't have a pick. So I like all of the rush of waiting for people to pick. It wasn't there until about when the picks started slowing down, and I was like, all right, these guys, we don't know their names. I was like, come on. And then it crept into the 3rd round. Simo just texted me again that he's not going to trade with me if I include Juju in another trade. And I took that as a challenge accepted. And I was able to offshore Juju, and I was texting Kramer, and I was like, hey, Juju is more valuable than half your bench. How about you give me Mr. Irrelevant? He was like, that sounds good with me. And so I picked Audric because Zach Loring told me that he was probably the best available. And with the Broncos running back room, I mean, Samaje P. Ryan, Javonte Williams obviously is going to be the lead back there, but he didn't really play like it last year.
Don't forget Jaleel McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, baby. J-Mac. I love J-Mac, although I don't like him because I think that, I don't know, I think that he'll be droppable after a year or he'll be a 3rd string. So I don't really have much hopes, but I was just happy to trade away Juju.
Yeah, I mean, good thing you got your draft pick excitement out of the way, because as it stands now, going all in, no picks in 2025. So if this is the definition,
not of yet.
All right, yeah. Well,
I always buy back in.
You always do. So we'll see you at 312 in a year from now. So hopefully that works out for you. But I mean, I still love the trades. I mean, you made so many, but it's pretty wild.
My QB value is 6.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Maybe it's pretty interesting to see how low Mr. Massage Parlor Deshaun Watson is.
Well, that's true. He's got to play a good year.
Yeah.
He's just been eating at my bench. I don't know. I mean, I traded away Patrick Mahomes for him, but I really like my team. So, and that trade that I traded for Deshaun Watson spiraled into what my team is now.
Yeah. Is there any? I mean, it's hard to say you're missing any pieces really with Travis Kelce. You got a dog pretty much in every position. Is there anything else maybe you're trying to acquire as you're going even more deeper into the season, or is it a matter of health and we'll see how it shakes out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of health. I mean, I think I've been pretty vocal that I fade running backs. So obviously you could see that my youngest one starting one is Joe Mixon at ripe 27 years old.
Yeah.
James Conner, 29 years old. Aaron Jones about to be 30 years old. So we got some work to do in the running back department, but I think that I could probably offload a couple of receivers maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
Anything is possible with my squad. I could trade away Jordan Love tomorrow, and I don't think anybody would be shocked.
Sure. Yeah, it's always interesting with Spencer. I think you just get bored at work sometimes and you're like, all right, let's get some action going. But that's what's the best part about doing leagues with you, my friend.
I'm always looking to move.
Here, all right. So we are almost a third of the way through. Here's where it gets a little bit interesting in terms of your grade compared to mine. When we talk about Stroud Boys, Chuck Poppy Wheels, giving out your first subpar 70% score with a C. Take us through your thought process with Chuck. I'm sure he'll be very animated to hear your reaction compared to mine.
Actually, do you want to start? I kind of want to hear why you gave him the B+.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, I mean, if you look at his ranks for contender, I mean, he's pretty deep at nearly every position, except for coming into the year, in the offseason, he traded away Kyle Pitts and then had not much depth at tight end. So that's where I tend to give him the B+, where, I mean, he's pretty set at almost every position right now. So it's almost just let Michael Penix marinate on his bench. He got good draft capital. Kirk Cousins just a bum, Michael Penix can just sneak in there at a great offense, a lot of weapons, and then picking up Ben Sano and then Jatavion Sanders just to build out his tight end room behind Trey McBride. I mean, drafting where he was, I think he only had mid-second, late third-round picks. It's about everything you could ask for, in my opinion. Getting a quarterback that has top 10 draft capital in the second round is obviously unheard of, considering he was drafted as a backup. So, I mean, there's really not much to really dislike about Carl's team right now. So that's kind of where I ended up with the B+, but curious where you ended up with a C.
Yeah, I put the C in there because I don't like the Penix pick, only because, I don't know, I think that, I mean, I might be a little biased, but I just think that it's going to cause a lot of disrupt in the Falcons locker room and organization.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, Penix has had so many injuries, and he's like a little older, and he didn't really do well until later in college. And I mean, I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't know. I mean, and that wasn't the reason why I put it as C. It was because he took 2 tight ends. I don't even think that Jatavion Sanders is going to start. I do like the I like the Ben Sinnott pick. I've been scooping him up in most of my like after draft waivers.
Really?
So that's what I kind of based it on, is just the other drafts and just my opinions. Sure. And this isn't a tight end premium league, and he's got Trey McBride and Isaiah Likely. Yeah. So I just didn't really see the need to pick 2 tight ends. Yeah. And I'm looking right now because he picked. Yeah. I mean, I would have personally picked everybody else that went after JT Sanders.
Oh, really?
But I do like the Ben Sinnott pick. I just think that he didn't have to go 2 tight ends. I think that JT Sanders on Carolina, like, Carolina sucks. I don't think JT Sanders starts right away. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, anything's possible, but the Penix pick is interesting. I think that it could be trade bait.
Oh, interesting.
Which, I mean, whoever's got Kirk Cousins, you'd be, probably wanting to wait a little bit until this value increases. But, I mean, you never know what could happen with Penix. But, yeah, that's why I graded it as C, just the Penix pick and then the 2 tight ends. Not saying that it's going to be horrible for him. I just would have chose different players just to try to add to the depth. I mean, because at that point, take a chance on any of the 3 running backs that went after him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I have the draft up on the screen. Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, some Will Shipley picks, Tyrone Tracy, who I've never heard of, but Loring's got some up his sleeve, I'm sure. But definitely, I mean, I see where his head was at, and I see where your head is at. So it'll be interesting to see how he watches this and then he reacts too. But
yeah, I mean, I think that Chuck has the best team in the league right now. I think obviously Dynasty Daddy agrees. He just has no holes. And I want to bring up a fun point because I've heard rumblings that Chuck Poppy allegedly had a fluke lucky draft, according to some other league members that I've heard whispers in my ear.
Whoa. Do you care to say what you mean by a fluke draft?
People are saying that he got really lucky with some of his picks, which I don't really agree with because luck is all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people I've heard from around the horn from, let's say, more than 5 people that they
more
were
than
like
5.
More than 5 people have said that they're. I think that is probably projecting a little jealousy because they didn't pick the players.
Absolutely.
But I just had to bring that up. But at the end of the day, Chuck's team is nasty. He's got so many young, good talent on his roster, and he could just continue to make moves. So I don't think that Chuck's team is going to be down for a long while. Yeah, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1, 9.
I mean,
and take draft capital out of it because you're trying to win a ship with his team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think looking at his squad, he doesn't have a single weakness.
No. Now, I was questioning why my receivers weren't number 1 and why they were number 3, but now I know why his are number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing I think about too was if he kept that 108 trade that he had with you. He originally had pick 108 in this draft, which could have been Rome Odunze or Brock Bowers.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because I want to revisit that trade because I had people say that I lost that, and I would like to go back and say that I gave up Chuba Hubbard, Daniel Jones,
and Jaden
Reed for Calvin Ridley and the 108. Which, looking at it from right now, I mean, Daniel Jones is like they were thinking about getting a quarterback.
Yeah,
that's not what you want to hear from when you have they threw him all that money so that his value just keeps decreasing. And they drafted Jonathan Brooks, so Chuba's value is now going to decrease. Obviously, Chuba will probably be the starter out of the gate, but Jonathan Brooks is damn good, so it's going to be interesting for the backfield there. And I also think the Panthers are going to be down a lot. So, I mean, if they continue to suck, it's like they're not going to run the ball halfway through the third, and then the end of the fourth, they're going to throw it. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But obviously, that trade didn't phase Chuck Poppy's team whatsoever because he's got a fucking stallion of a team.
Yeah, there's no weakness. Just needs.
I gotta stop glazing. I gotta play against him.
Major Glazer. Yeah, I mean we've talked about Stroud boys here for a while, but I mean, if you want to talk about, I'm definitely jealous. I
went all in, and I am jealous of this team right now. I did not realize that he's got Jahan Dotson as like one of his fucking worst receivers. It's ridiculous. Good job.
Hopefully his luck continues, and then the league will start to think he has more skill than Chance when he's selecting some of these players. But more to come there. We'll let him defend himself when he eventually joins us on the pod, if he ever does.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for it.
Shifty gets another tough grade. We're going back-to-back C's. Shifty gets a C+.
Oh,
with
all right.
Probably. You want to start? You want to just go right away?
Yeah, and I'll change my grade. I did not know that he picked up Roman Wilson, first of all. Yeah. I love that pick. I must have gotten confused. So I will bump that up to a B-.
Okay. He's in the B territory.
I gave it that low of score for basically 2 reasons, and their names are Spencer Rattler and Drake May. I think that fantasy football only, Jaden Daniels was the pick to go. And that's just my opinion. He just got all the tools for a fantasy QB, and I think that Drake May is maybe going to struggle a little bit. Maybe I don't know if he's going to start right away because that's the thing. He's still got to compete with Brissett, and Jaden Daniels has nobody to compete with. He's going to start week 1. So I guess for QB needy team, that's why I graded it so low, just because what if Drake May doesn't get to start? Because now he's starting. Gardner Minshew, that's sneaky though.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew's been a great pick for him if he gets to start in Las Vegas.
I think he will. I think that Gardner Minshew will win that job. But I mean, I bump it up to a B- because of the Roman Wilson pick. I like that, but Spencer Rattler, I just think he could have picked another QB there. Or sorry, I think he could have picked a different position there. Let's see where he picked Spencer Rattler at.
I think it was a
before I lock in
third.
this answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would have picked Tyrone Tracy, Will Shipley, Ben Sinnott, Malachi Corley. Yeah, I would have picked all of them over Rattler. But, I mean, I'm an Iowa State fan, so I do not like Spencer Rattler, obviously.
Yeah.
Played at Oklahoma and beat us in the Big 12 championship. So probably a little biased, but honestly, B- is not that bad of a draft grade with only 3 picks, and I think Shifty's team is really good. So
yeah, the one thing I would kind of bring it all back to is I pull this up on the screen. Shifty put himself in a absolute nightmare scenario, having all of these, assets. I think his team, we've talked about it on the pod when he was on it, how he had one of the best teams in terms of points for and depth. And then the fact that he had all these dogs and then he sends them all away to get to the 102.
yeah,
Which is just, I mean, that's just such a hard position to put yourself in too. So, I mean, I think of a haul like this where you're giving up 2 firsts, Rodgers, D-Hop. You're doing all of this. Like, I'm hoping I'm sending that for Caleb Williams personally.
yeah,
So
it was. I remember when that trade dropped, and I remember looking at it for like a decently long while, being like, I don't really know who won, but and then I'm like, I think that Will won. I mean, he got 3 people who I know that they're old, but they're starters for this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're competing, like I understand the trade to get Drake May, obviously with Aaron Rodgers being 40 years old and him having Anthony Richardson. I like the 2 21-year-olds at QB, but yeah, let's see this. Yeah, I love his running back. I love his running back core. I like his receivers. I like his tight ends.
Yeah, it's too bad Michael Mayer just fell off a cliff. Now that Brock Bowers is going to make him become fantasy irrelevant.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that
Jack.
Sucks. Yeah, that does suck. And Michael Mayer's gonna take the back seat.
Yep. You hate to see it, but I mean,
well, you got Marky Mark, so I love Mark Andrews.
That's a part of the game. So yeah, interesting spot you're in here, Shifty. I'd be curious now to have you on the pod now that you've had the rookie draft. Just what do you think of your squad going forward? I'd almost pencil you from being an absolute contender to right on that frisky scale that the website has you at. So
I was just going to say, I think that is a perfect, he is frisky a little bit. I think that he could compete, but I think that, I don't know. Yeah, he's in a very interesting spot.
Sure. More moves I'm sure will be made in Shifty's future. As we continue on down, anything else you want to say, Spence? Otherwise, we can keep it moving.
No, I like the team Shifty. I think it's solid all around.
Alrighty. To Mr. Trey Lance Lover 69. What do we say, Spencer? I mean, this poor bastard has been getting pounded by the Wheel of Doom. Both teams that have landed on the worst team alert have selected team Trey Lance Lover 69. You give him a B, I give him an A-. Why do you go a little bit lower than me?
I only went a little bit lower because, Will Nessa is my boy. Shout out Will. And I just picking Worthy over Rome is where I dropped it down from an A. Just like Keon Coleman, Bo Nix, Jonathan Brooks, Troy Franklin. I thought he nailed the rest of that draft. He paired Troy Franklin up with Bo Nix, and I think that Bo Nix could start.
Yeah.
And he got himself another QB. And if Bo Nix actually does decent, it's like then he's got a QB for a little bit. Jonathan Brooks, I think that he's going to be the RB1 in Carolina. Keon Coleman, he could be the WR1 in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I think that he nailed his last picks. Is just and Worthy could be good too. I mean, he's fast. He's got Mahomes, and with the whole Rice thing now, I don't know what's going to happen with him. But yeah, I just personally would have taken Rome there, and I think that this would have been an A++ for me if it was Rome. Yeah. That would have been a nice pick. But again, very solid draft, Will. I'm excited to see how your team is going to do because he did accept that trade that we were just talking about. So now these dudes that he drafted could just sit on his bench, and then he can just let the old guys take it. So I like it. I think that Will could be a contender.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree with you. I think he had maybe 4 picks in a row to end the first round and then into the second. So
yeah, I
didn't even notice that he kind of got that stack with Troy Franklin and Bo Nix. It'll be interesting to see. I hate Sean Payton. I do
too.
So it's just hard for me to root for anything with the Broncos if they even have anything remotely good going for them. But I mean, addressing pretty much every position, getting Jonathan Brooks, helping Gene, old ass Austin Eckler just retire already. But Keon Coleman, I think, could be an absolute sleeper. I wasn't super high on him coming into the draft. I don't know, just with analytics and some other, I mean, he's had some sick highlights, but I think he could be an absolute dog in Buffalo. I mean, someone's got to be the new Diggs, and it's sure as hell not going to be anyone else.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, got that right. But yeah, I tend to give an A- just because of I think a lot of the supporting stuff. I definitely agree with you. It was an absolute shock to me when he went Worthy over Odunze.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can kind of be attached to Patrick Mahomes for a majority of your career and not be that third option on Chicago right now that Rome Odunze would be. So I get the thought process there. I probably would have maybe tried to trade back a pick because I know people would have gone for Odunze before Worthy there. So that
pretty nice little deal
I definitely was
Rome.
Texting him and I was like, buddy, like, let me make you a sweet, sweet deal. And I was sending in some old bastards. But as I look at your team, Ness, I mean, if you start getting hot, TJ Hawkinson's coming off of that torn ACL. Who better to plug in there than Greg Kittle? Just a thought.
Hawk's going to be out for a while.
He'll be back. I think rumor has it like mid-year next year. I mean, if we're sucking ass as the Vikings, like, why rush him?
That's another good point.
So,
and I think that instead of George Kittle, I think that he should get David Njoku from your boy.
No. I don't think so.
I can't afford TJ Hawkinson and I need David Njoku, so go for it.
It's hilarious. But yeah, I think Nessa's definitely starting to turn it around.
Absolutely.
Some good trades. He's definitely been acquiring a lot of assets after kind of that puzzling trade, getting rid of Amon-Ra and Jordan Love, who are both just absolute dogs, both young.
Thank you, Ness.
Going to the 101 and then trading back. I mean, Nessa,
he's had a wild offseason.
He's had a wild offseason, but sitting pretty, trust the process, keep up the good work, Trey Lance lover.
God damn, they have Troy Franklin above DeAndre Hopkins in the value ratings. That's wild.
Guess so. They hate old people.
They do hate old people. I think Diop will have a good year, but I think that will definitely turn the squad around from about 2 months ago. So
yeah, we have another team erupt. One sole pick for Mr. Kramer, the first guest of the Maidenless podcast. He has a special place in our heart. Just with Trey Benson, not much to talk about here. I know a fellow league mate, Bean Squared, was fairly passionate about his pick here, not going tight end potentially and going Trey Benson over him, but I'll let those two debate another day. But can't really fault Trey Benson pick here at all, really.
No.
Getting some additional depth. The dude always just has the sickest squad of running backs, so he just continues that trend. So
his running backs are solid. He's got five good ones in my opinion. I think Roshan could still, compete with Swift. And you go to his receivers, CD, Devonta, Diggs.
Yeah, man. Damn.
He's definitely got the big three, but I think that his biggest holes are obviously his tight ends.
Hey, David Njoku and George Kittle.
You want David Njoku? You want George Kittle? Come hit up your fucking podcast experts.
Dude, holy shit.
And then his QBs. I mean, Stafford, he's getting up there, but hey, he's got competing QBs for this year, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be an absolute competitor this year for sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens with his tight ends if he tries to make a move. Looking at it, has 2 firsts next year, so I mean, could definitely be attractive to pair some of those together. Maybe Spencer will try and get his back from him somehow.
Oh, I probably will.
But, I mean, good pick from Kramer. Not much else I'd really have to say. Anything from you?
No, I mean, I like the Trey Benson pick. I love Trey Benson. I love the landing spot. I think that after this season, he'll be the clear-cut back after James Conner kind of takes a step back. But I think that it's James Conner's time until he gets injured for 5 weeks.
Yep. Hey, and it's pretty much inevitable. It'll be some ankle.
Yep.
It'll be an ankle. But
yep.
Hopefully, maybe he'll sell him to me for some nice stud tight end. All right. I'm done.
Get your plugs in.
Yeah, gotta. Shameless plugs. Weenie Hut Juniors. Probably, I mean, the first team to get an A+ from both of us, Spencer. I mean, got to say it's the winner of the draft. Obviously, those scouting sessions with Simo sitting crisscross applesauce on A22 have paid off because, god damn, A+ from both of us. I mean, dude absolutely killed it, in my opinion. I mean, there's really nothing negative I could say about this draft at all.
No, I mean, Jaden Daniels, I think, besides Caleb Williams, he's the best fantasy QB in this draft. Love that pick.
Yeah.
Love the Rome pick. He fell to you. But
absolutely insane.
I know Zach was just giddy with glee when he saw Worthy got picked over Rome.
Yeah.
And then obviously Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, he got, two of the best 4 receivers, in my opinion, in the draft. He got A.D. Mitchell. He got Jalen Wright. He got, I love that draft.
Yeah. And then.
And Mike Evans.
Even adding some depth with Mike Evans. I tend to disagree that it says fraud here on the website. I mean, I think it just comes down to it all depends on if Kyler and Jaden can stay healthy and live up to. I mean, if that's an absolute just sick QB duo with rushing upside. I mean, those are league winners right there. So,
Dalton Kincaid there at tight end.
Yeah.
He's got Rome, Nico, BT Jr., Pickens, Evans. He's got some young guys on the bench. He's got Kyler, Jaden. I think that Zach has a good young team. Very young, but
yeah. If I were to maybe say there's an opportunity anywhere, you just look running back ranked 10. I mean, that's just being nitpicky. I mean, you look at my running back rank, I'm probably 12. So I mean, that's just an opportunity. So,
J.K. Dobbins though, his value skyrockets from 2000 up to probably where Najee is if he actually does something in LA, but. Yeah, I think he needs to get a running back. But other than that, I think he's looking not too bad at all. Yep. Yeah, good job, Zach.
Got to give you a golf clap, Zach, for the A+ draft grade.
Hell yeah.
And who wants to follow that one up? Nobody. But Josh Bortz sure will. Twisted T. Higgins. You give him an A, I give him a B. I mean, full transparency, the only reason I give a B is because I don't know shit about Will Shipley.
I don't know shit about Will Shipley either, but I know that they can't keep relying on Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. There's just no way, dude. They have been there for like the last 5 years, I swear to God. And I think that he is going to be a compliment to Saquon.
Okay, so I don't even know. Where did he go to college? Do you even know?
No idea.
I saw the pick.
Wait, this is the dude that went on the Eagles, right? Or
I literally like. Shame on me for not doing my prior research, but I saw the pick happen. I was just like, "Oomst!" Just had no idea who this is.
Philly.
No, Philly. Okay, so that'll be. I mean,
I just don't think that they're going to ride with those two bums. I think that Will Shipley definitely has a chance to, make his mark in camp and to get on that roster lock spot, and hopefully, when the time comes, maybe back up Saquon this year, end of this year, next year. So I like it for Bortz. I mean, he needed a running back and. It's kind of a dart throw where he picked Will Shipley at, so.
Yeah, I mean, round 4 he got taken, so I mean, decent draft capital for running backs. So, I mean, hell, if you're going to take a dart throw, may as well do it at a running back, so.
Interesting that they have Bortz as a fraud.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, QB ranked 12 with, AJ Brown. Man, it just hurts my soul seeing Bijan on there, man. My perm pressed Bijan jersey is just feeling so sad. So I'm gonna be before the summer is over, Bortz, you're gonna be hearing from this guy right here because I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need him back, but shit, that might not be able to happen. So
I mean, honestly, Bortz has Bijan, Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, all those dudes will play this year. Tajay Spears will play this year. Tua and Baker. I mean, he could probably get a little stronger QB just because he's got Kyle Trask and Stetson Bennett on the bench. But, I mean, Jake Ferguson, Pat Freiermuth, not bad tight ends. A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Debo, Hollywood. Like, he's got a solid squad.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Good shit, Bortz. Good shit. Good Shipley, may I say. Mr. B. Herbo. Another Lone Ranger. Believe it was picking in the 3rd round, hanging on out. I know. I have to give Ben a shout out. He did big, long draft write-ups. We were supposed to have him on the pod. he went and saw a movie instead. Shout out Planet of the Apes. So got to give him some credit for helping with kind of structuring this episode too. So Ben has had one hell of a draft. Obviously, came in, had the 102 after a tough year with just getting unlucky with Bryce Young. Ends up trading up to 101 as a Bears fan, does an emotional hedge, trades out of the 101, and secures Josh Allen, arguably one of the best fantasy assets too. So, I mean, talk about an offseason.
Yeah, I love, well, first of all, I love the Malachi Corley pick. The Jets picked him early, like very early, and Alan Lazard sucks. Mike Will, he sucks. 1 year deal, just glass body over there. I think that with the draft capital that they drafted Malachi at, he could make an impact.
Yeah.
So, and he fell like mid third round.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good job, Beans.
I was hoping he would somehow fall or just become undrafted so I could get him, but I mean, you can't really complain. Only reason I gave an A- is just because I just didn't know much about him. And then obviously because I have Garrett Wilson, I don't want anyone else to have success on the same team as him. So that's the only reason I don't give you an A there, Benny.
It's interesting seeing his team though, because he's got obviously the all-star young QB stack with Josh Allen and, Jay Herbo, and Bryce Young too. Shit, on the bench too. That's nice.
Deep room now.
The receivers is where I'm looking at. I think that if he trades for a receiver, instantly makes his team just so much better. Just because it's hard to rely on Malachi and Demario Douglas for your WR3 spots. So, but I mean, he's got a lot of capital and talent to trade away. So I think that he's got a good looking team too.
When you're thinking about how he would, are you thinking trade tier up at receiver, get another depth piece, or what? Maybe while he's listening, we give him like a hypothetical package that you'd maybe send to someone if you had his squad.
If I had his squad, I would probably be trying to package definitely.
It's a loaded question, I know.
I'd probably trade away one of my tight ends. I'd definitely trade away one of my receivers as well as a throw-in piece. Like I'd probably throw Demario Douglas in there. I just don't think Demario's going to be that good, but you never know.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably throw in Bryce Young. So I'd probably do a package of like Bryce Young, a running back, probably like Zach Charbonnet maybe.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I mean, it would be tough because obviously our league values receivers so heavy, but
yeah.
I mean, I think that if he just gets that WR3 in there, his team could be real shot in the dark this year.
Yeah, I mean, talk about I don't necessarily agree with the fraud rating.
I don't either.
That he has, especially when you have Josh Allen and Justin Herbert.
Either.
I think you're automatically competing just with those two guys.
Agreed.
So pretty good. I mean, damn good offseason for B. Herbo, going from second to last place to now being able to compete this year. So I'll give you some snaps around for there. Let's see. Last, but certainly not least, last place Simo does a great damn job with his draft grade. Both you and I have him at an A. The Malik Neighbors pick, it was one of those where I would have loved to take him, where I took JJ McCarthy at the 105, but I just my team construction made me need a quarterback more.
Yeah.
And the Vikings premium that I put on JJ McCarthy just couldn't pass that up. So
yeah,
I mean, I think Ricky Pearsall is an absolute steal too.
I do too.
Got him in, I want to say, the mid-second.
And then he did. He got him at
mid-second, first-round draft capital on the Niners offense with Kyle Shanahan. And Jermaine Burton's a hell of a sleeper too. I mean, I'd honestly almost argue this could be an A+ up there with Loring.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree. I just think that Loring had more picks, and with the way that his team was, I think that obviously Neighbors he stole Neighbors back there. Lucky that he dropped all the way there, but I love the Neighbors pick. I love the Ricky pick, and I love the Jermaine pick. I think that 2 out of those 3 are going to hit. Obviously, I think Neighbors is going to hit, but I think that Ricky will as well. Obviously, like what you said, they spent some good draft capital on him, and I think that Ayuk and or Debo are gone next year. So I think that that's a great pick. And looking at his team, I think that the one thing that I would say is to probably trade for some depth, just because he's got a lot of very frisky players. Jameson Williams,
Yeah.
Mike Williams, Treylon Burks, Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar to what you said for Ben, almost just getting that second maybe dog at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Sell some of those picks, maybe get some depth. I think that's a really good point.
But obviously, you go to his QBs. He's got Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, if you want to talk about an absolute, he gets a lot of shit in the sleeper chat from a lot of people. But I mean, if you want to talk about an absolute rebuild, both him and Ben getting second to last place and last place, absolutely rebuilding their squads with absolute dogs at quarterback. So getting Mahomes, getting off that 101. I mean, that's what movies is made of.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, Burrow was hurt from last year, so and he had Deshaun Watson, who also didn't play half the year, and so when you really think about that, there's really no other direction his team could go in. But coming from that to this, I think that he did a good job. I mean, he's got Mahomes, Burrow, Gibbs, A-Chain, Swift, Neighbors, Flowers. He's got a good young team.
Yeah, just absolute anchors in every position too with Mahomes. I mean, you could argue Burrow too, and then Gibbs, Neighbors, and Laporta. So I mean, he's got an absolute stud pretty much
everywhere,
every skill position. So that's basically what you want to have if you're coming off of a last place finish. You're able to kind of set yourself going forward. But damn, good job, Simo. Good job.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can blow up your DMs and give you a trade that you smile at and not throw up at. So maybe I'll try and get Gibbs from you. We'll see. That probably won't
happen. I will not be trading you Tyreek Hill for A-Chain straight up.
Oh, really? Is that something you proposed, or is that
something that we discussed and I was not discussed? Do it?
I don't know. I mean, I think that all depends on your team structure. I think you wanting to compete, you have older depth, but I mean, I can see where he's coming from, where you have Gibbs. I'm not selling him for anything less than the highest.
I asked for Gibbs. He's
okay.
No. Okay. I said, if we're doing a straight up trade, I'd probably do Gibbs. And then he's like, no. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not doing just A-Chain. So we tried to finagle pieces in there, but I think I literally texted him at one point, we're just not going to be able to get a deal done.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is like a 24 points per game guy. It's so hard. Like, just because he's 29, I'm like, or 30. I'm like, yeah, but like the average 24 points a game last year, and that's all that I have to go off of. So it's hard trading a guy like Tyreek.
Yeah.
Never know what package you want for him.
Yeah, we are definitely starting to get to those interesting days of now the purgatory of the summer, where you're kind of sending some DMs, but still waiting to see, if league mates are back from their sabbatical and whatnot. So it'll be exciting to see. But I mean, Spencer, we've already been talking for an hour, believe it or not. Is there really anything else you'd like to talk about today? We've talked about a lot, trying to keep it probably rookie focused, but anything else you'd like to mention?
No, other than every league mate listening, turn your notice on, get your manager cap on, and start firing out some trades.
Start dialing up the phones, baby.
Cold call.
Yeah, cold call. Hit those quotas.
Hit them KPIs. Come on.
Yeah. I guess my parting words would be, I think if I had to decide, not necessarily the best draft, but if I had to choose the winner of the draft, I think it has to go to Loring. Both you and I give him an A+ grade. So, I mean, shouts out to him. He absolutely killed it. I think everyone really, that's what's so fun about Dynasty Fantasy Football, is just the rookie drafts and how much impact it can have on your team. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a Puka Nacua lying in the rough anywhere here. So
yeah, and Zach did stand on business. He did say, I'm good at, I trust myself in these rookies when he traded me Waddle. And now we both give him A+, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But other than that, I mean, I think we can kind of wrap it up there, Spencer. We've been yapping a lot for a while. Hopefully, everyone's watched it thus far. And if you disagree with our draft grades, tell us why. Let's get some chat going. Let's see maybe if you tend to agree with us. If you don't, let's hear why. That's all I got, though, Spenny. Anything else?
No, other than thank you, Willie, for obviously setting everything up and being the fucking best co-host and for everybody watching.
All righty.
Shout out
We
Maidenless.
will see you. We will see you in the next one. Peace.